Hi everyone, this is Lori from My File Addiction. Today I'm going to talk about a little glitch that's going on in the Cricut Design Space program. Currently, and this is affecting some rhinestone files, but not all rhinestone files. And I'm specifically going to show you the workarounds on how to deal with my files. How other designers save their files and what they have you do to make the files the correct size for your program may not be the steps that I do. I'm going to show you to do for my files. Okay. Currently, my files that are labeled either have Cricut or Cricut-brother added to the end of the file name. Those are the only two files that you can use, and those files should be coming in at the correct size. Cricut had an issue a while back, and it lasted for quite a while, but where files were coming in extremely large, and you guys were having to resize those files. That has since been fixed. This issue that I'm going to show you right now is basically on some files it's rearranging the pieces, and for other files it's not. So I don't know. That's the strangest thing about this little glitch. It's not affecting all files, but I'm going to show you how to fix these issues if you come across a file that has been changed. So after you upload either the Cricut or the Cricut Brother file into your library, I consider this your library, first thing you're going to look at is how the file pieces are arranged. Okay, so we're going to look at this file first, and you're going to see that the note that I put, this is a Cricut Brother file. Those files have notes on there for you to double check the size of the file. They're mainly, the note is for Brother Scan and Cut users because their programs do resize the file, but like I said, as of right now, and the Design Space program is not resizing the files, so you should not have to resize any of my files. If you upload just a Cricut file, those do not have measurements included in them. It's still a file that's compatible with your program, but because when I made those files, those are my first revision files, there was not any issues with any kind of resizing. So all I had to do was group the circles to make the file compatible with your program. So that's the difference between the two. Okay, so as you can see, there's two boxes with the design pieces on the inside. You probably can't really notice those, but there are. And then the note underneath. So I'm going to select this file. I'm going to deselect that one. And I'm going to select Add to Canvas. And the first thing you're going to notice here is this note now has been moved. It's either this note's been moved or the two design pieces have been shifted over. But anyways, this is not in the same way I saved the file. Okay, so what we're going to do here is you are going to ungroup the file, and you're going to go over here to your right panel, select the note, and we're just going to bring this down. Okay, and now we can see the note, and you are going to select a black box. You're going to check the box size to make sure it's the same size as my note, and you can see it is, so that assures you that the design pieces are the correct size, and you can go ahead and cut your file. If they are not the correct size, then that means the circles on the inside are not the correct size to cut the holes for the stone sizes that I set the design to be used with. So it's a very important that the files that upload into your program are the correct size. You cannot change the size of the files. You without actually, when you do that, it impacts the size of the circles. So as you increase or decrease the size of that file, it changes the size of those whole circles, and it makes sure it cuts the holes either larger or smaller than what they would be set at for a SS10 stone. So you never want to do that. Okay, so this was a fairly easy one. I just kind of wanted to show you that I did not save the file that way. So if you happen to look at that and think, well, why would she, overlap that and throw that in there? That's not me. This is Design Space shifting around pieces. Okay, so I'm going to delete this one. I'm going to upload another one. So this one, now you can see everything is kind of all grouped together. I'm going to select this. I'm going to add to canvas. First thing you can kind of notice is everything's kind of all shifted up here. Also, it's best to kind of zoom out. I zoom out to like 25%. So for these bigger files, you can see all the pieces when they come in. If you're zoomed in at 100%, you're more than likely only going to see a corner part of the design. So you just have to go down to your bottom left-hand corner and select your minus, and that'll zoom you out. Okay, so since this is all grouped together, I'm just going to drag this over here. Okay, so we can see everything. So now you can see what it has done. Design Space has taken these two pieces for some reason and moved them down. Okay, so here is the problem. My note is set up to say the entire file should measure a certain size. And I did this because each of these pieces are going to be all different sizes. So for me to list a whole thing and say, oh, the number 0 is this size, the number 1 should be this size, the number 2, it's easier for me to group everything and give you one dimension for the file. So as long as it measures that, then you know that those circles are going to be the correct size. But that measurement is based on the way I save the file. If Design Space decides to move around those pieces, those measurements are never going to match up. So as you can see, this now measures 16.362 by 18.487. Not even what I said it's supposed to be. Okay? So if you were to ungroup this and say you decided, oh, okay, maybe she meant this piece. Okay? Now, yes, the width measurement is the same, but the height measurement doesn't match, because when I included this measurement, these numbers under here were underneath my measurement note, and this was tucked in this little corner here. So now you're like, well, okay, now am I supposed to resize it to make this measure 8.246? If you do that, you're messing with the circle sizes, okay? And it's going to stretch the design, make the circles oblong, and they're not going to be the correct size, okay? So, like I said, as of right now, and obviously I have not checked every single one of my files, but I went through a few different files just to see, and so far everything is coming in the size it should be, even though some of these files are not matching my measurements that I have in here. But there are a couple ways that you can double check this, okay, without having to match anything up to this measurement note. And to do that, you're basically inside your Design Space program, you're going to use your contour feature, okay? And if you were to upload a design and you're going to use this contour feature, you're going to try to want to do it on the smallest piece that has the least amount of circles in it, okay? If you have a big design, and let's say one design piece, and there are 1,500 circles in it, that contour feature is going to take a long time to process. Okay, so in that case, you're better off having a secondary program that you can upload the file into, check the sizing, compare it to the sizing that you have in your Design Space program, and checking the file that way. Okay, and I'll show you one of the programs that is fairly inexpensive that you can do that with, and I'll show you how to do that after this. Okay, so what we're going to do right now is I'm going to delete this piece, and these are going to be grouped together for some reason. That's not how I set it up, but it grouped these pieces. That's probably why they shifted over. And I'm going to zoom in here so you can kind of see a little bit. Oops, I lost our pieces here. That's the problem. If you zoom in, sometimes you lose where your pieces are at. So if you can select these and move them up to where your numbers are 0, 0, that's kind of where your zoom kind of goes into that corner. So I'm going to zoom in here, and I am going to delete everything but the 0. Okay, now I'm going to select the 0, and my contour feature is highlighted here. So I'm going to select that, and I am going to select hide all contours, and I'm going to X out of this. And as you can see, it selected one individual circle, which allows us to check the size of that circle. You can't check individual circle sizes by looking at the file as a whole, because in order for me to make the file compatible with your program, I have to permanently group those circles as one object. That's the only way for the files to be able to upload and for you to cut. If you do not group those circles, I will show you right after this what can happen, and you can see exactly why you can't use the other SVG file that I include along with my files that other design programs can use. But anyways, so this design is a SS10. It was made for SS10 stones, and those circles are going to measure 0.13 inches. So since this circle is 0.13 inches, that means that entire file is the correct size. So you do not have to make any sizing adjustments at all. Okay, if the design was a all SS6 design, those circles would measure 0.098. If it was an all SS16 design, those would measure 0.17. Okay. So after this, since you check the file, all you would need to do is upload the entire file again, and then you can cut your pieces and everything. All your templates will cut at the correct size. I'm going to show you what it looks like when you upload the incorrect file. So this is just a regular SVG file that you can use in Shortcuts a lot. You can use it in Silhouette Studio programs, Corel Draw, Make the Cut, Oobling, other various programs that are considered rhinestone programs and accept these kinds of files. Okay, so if I add this, okay, so the file is let's see, let me see. Okay, I think it's grouped together. Yes, let's ungroup it. Okay, so this will allow you to select a circle, okay, because these are now individual objects. Over here on your right hand panel, you will see all individual circles, where before in the first file that I showed you, they were actually design pieces. So there are fewer objects. These are all individual circles. So what will happen is, this is a small file, so there was no issues uploading this one, but as the files get bigger and bigger and there's more circles that make up that design, it can lock up your program. But okay, so if we were to take this design and select make it, you're going to see exactly what's going to happen now. So now all of those circles that made up that design are now being dispersed and into a straight line. Okay, so you cannot use these files. You wouldn't, even if you grouped those files or those circles, even if you welded them or did all kinds of stuff, it's still going to disperse. When you select make it, it's still going to do this to the circles. Okay, that process of permanently grouping those circles has to be done in an outside program. I save the file after I group them, save it as an SVG, label it Cricut Brother, then that file can be uploaded into your program. Okay, there's no way for you to do what I do to make the file compatible in your Design Space program. Okay, so now if I were to decide to check that senior design in another program, for $50 you can purchase a program called Shortcuts a Lot. You just need the basic version. This will allow you to upload the SVG file at the correct size. There is a free program called Inkscape. The only drawback to that is it does not upload or import SVG files at the correct size. So even if you were to bring that SVG file into Inkscape, it's going to be the incorrect size. So if you were to resize the file compared to what you see in Inkscape, it's going to be the wrong size. Okay, so freebie design programs are not always the best, but if you want to spend minimal amount of money, you can buy Shortcuts a Lot. Like I said, it's $50, and use it for checking your files, and it will allow you to do rhinestone patterns if you want to. It's a very basic program, doesn't always give you the best looking results, but a lot of times it's the designer that moves the circles around and creates those designs. It's not the program that does the work anyways. So okay, so I'm going to select file, and then I'm going to go to import, and I'm going to go into senior, and I am going to select that Cricut Brother SVG, and I'm going to select open. Okay, and this one will also come in all grouped. And we're going to ungroup. So we're going to make sure these are all individual objects. Okay, so what you can do is, let's go back into our Cricut program, and I'm going to upload that senior file again. Add to canvas. And I'm going to zoom out here a little bit. I'm going to ungroup it. And now we're going to check a piece of the file. So basically you only have to check one piece. If that piece matches to what we have in Shortcuts a Lot, you're good to go. Okay, so you can, in this case, you could select a number if you wanted to. That's group 2. You can select a number if you wanted to, or select this black box. Go over to your right panel. Okay, select the panel that has the box, and that measures 10 point, I'm going to write this down, that measures 10.569 by 5.318. So if we go into our Shortcuts a Lot program and we select just that black box, we can see it measures 10.569 by 5.318. That's exactly the size it was in Cricut Design Space. Okay, so now we know that even though those pieces were scattered around, the file in Cricut Design Space came in at the correct size. Okay, I'm gonna go back here. I'm gonna upload this file. As you can see, the note here is between all four squares. Okay, so I'm going to select this. I'm going to add it to my canvas. I'm going to bring this down, and the measurement note stayed exactly where I saved it. So this is what's so confusing. I don't know why it's doing it for certain files and not for others. I save all of my files in the same program. I run them through the same exact program. I do the same exact process. So I'm clueless as to why it's happening. Okay. But anyways, this one I said the entire file should measure to 2.551 by 20.312. The 20.312 is exactly the same. This says 22.55. Do not make it, this one in the third digit space does not make a difference. Okay, as long as these digits match here, don't worry about that third one. Don't try to force it and make it exactly that measurement. That little hairline digit being off by one is not going to make or break anything. Okay, so then with this one, all you would do is ungroup it and then delete your measurement note and cut your file. So I have no clue why this is happening. I just noticed it recently. It was probably done from one of their updates maybe last month in September. It seems like every time I open that program, there's always an update going on. The program itself is not compatible to work with rhinestone files. We as designers have to force the issue. Okay, so when Cricut does these updates, they don't care if it messes with rhinestone files or not, because the program is not designed to work with rhinestone files. So you have to keep that in mind. If this is a program you want to use with rhinestone files, you have to accept the good with the bad, or the bad with the good, I should say. And be very leery every time you see an update. Be prepared that something could be off, and don't always assume that it's the designer that has created a file that is bad. Okay, chances are, especially if it's a designer that's been selling for quite a while, I've been doing this since 2007, they know what they're doing. Okay, the designers know what they're doing, and the chances are it's your program that is causing the issues. And Cricut takes their sweet old time, as far as I'm concerned, to correct any issues if they're brought to their attention. Most people want to just bring the attention of the problem to the designer, but we can't fix the program. Okay, you guys need to tell Cricut that there's an issue. And I worked with them on their last issue that they had, where their files were coming in super large. I kept after them, kept emailing and emailing and emailing, but I swear that that fix took 4 or 5 months to get fixed, okay? So they need to know that there are problems, and not, you can't just tell the designer, you know. So so I hope this information was helpful. I hope they fix this issue so you guys won't have to be concerned whether, you know, files are the correct size or not. But like I said, if you are buying my files, to my knowledge, as of right now, which is October of 2021, the files are coming in at the correct size, even if they do not match my measurement notes. Do not make any changes to anything. I suggest, if you have any concerns, you contact me and we double check the file to make sure it's the correct size before you make any adjustments. Okay? I hope this was helpful, and have a great day.